Okay, data scientists, SPLs, Scholar Practitioner Leaders, welcome back to our week 4 as we are now going to speak on our assignments. Okay, as I previously mentioned, we had 3 assignments for our fall statistics for data science, MSDS 531, A01, for our first bi-term course, guys. And as I've been articulating, guys, I'm very, very impressed with what I saw on the assignments in review. And like I said, I have not graded them yet. I'm not that fast. You guys just finished those assignments, tweaking in very late last night. So, and like I said, I did my usual sample size over the past couple of days, including last night, looking at the assignments. And from my sample selection of review for see if we're all aligned. It looks, and I'm looking now actually, that everything is looking really, really well, as I previously mentioned. So let's look at those 3 assignments. And there were 3 very, very, I like to say high profile assignments because to me, those assignments were really indicative of what was going on for our week 3. Okay. So, that being the case, let's look at the very first assignment, and that was called Statistical Experiments and Significance Testing. Now, like I told you last week, guys, it's all about following directions. This assignment was really straightforward, and it can get a little dysfunctional if you don't follow the directions. Okay, so and basically this one was all you had to do was do your initial discussion post, right? So just follow the directions, do your discussion post just like we previously done. Because I'm always giving you a discussion, right? Something to talk about with your peers. So that's always a good thing to just break the ice. But as I told you last week, that had to be posted by Thursday. So that's the topic, and the topic is always done by Thursday. And the topic was all about data science conducting continual experiments, right? So the process was all about starting with a hypothesis, and the experiment is designed to test the overall hypothesis, as you guys found out in this discussion post. Okay. So it was also designed in such a way that hopefully will deliver conclusive results. Okay. And that's what I want you guys to get out of the overall discussion. Have fun with it. Have fun, have fun, have fun. And then you were seeing, as you saw from your assignment, that the data from the population is collected and analyzed, and then a conclusion was drawn from it, as I spoke on last week. And as you can see, I'm not a Nostradamus, but everything did come to fruition, right? And then from your own experiences and reading, you had to do 2 things that I was looking for in the initial post. Number one was all about explaining what are the 2 major problems in collecting the samples, okay? And then the second item that I wanted from the initial post was, is it possible to fix problems that you mentioned from your initial post? And if not, explain why is that so, as I articulated last week. And if it is, explain how you would do it. And that's pretty much your initial post. And that was it. Had to be in by Thursday, guys. And everybody pretty much got them all in. So again, great job. Now, again, for the statistical experiments and significance testing assignment, this first one of 3 assignments that I gave you, you also had to do your 2 peer responses to your classmates. So as long as you did that, did the minimum, and you're going to do more. You can do actually a couple more if you wanted to, but the minimum was 2 peer responses along with your initial posting by Thursday. Now the 2 follow up, as we know from week 1 when we did this previous same assignment, it's always due. The 2 peer responses are due by that ensuing Sunday at 11:59. So that was your first assignment in a nutshell, guys, and then you just collaborate with your peers on what they posted for their initial post, right? And that's what it's all about. You guys building that uh, chemistry with your peers, and just giving them a good attaboy or a pat on the back, and let them know what's your thoughts on their conclusions and things of that nature. So, and that's why those peer responses are really huge, because maybe your peer may see something maybe a little different from you, or they may, again, as I just previously mentioned, concur with you and give you a nice attaboy or attawoman per se. So that's always a good thing, to get commended for the work that you're doing, or if you can add value by collaborating on either your experiences or something that you may draw a conclusion from, like an article or a scholarly paper or something that you can reference. Okay. So, all right. So that was your first assignment. Now, your second assignment, guys, data scientists, that I really, really thought you would really enjoy, was that drills with an R on point estimates and constant confidence intervals. Excuse me. So that's drills with an R, on point estimates and confidence intervals. Okay. And that one was due on Sunday. Uh, just typically, and that was worth 80 points. Whereas your first assignment, okay, your overall statistical experiments and significance testing, that first assignment that I just went over, that was only worth 20 points. But that's still a huge 20 points that you don't want to lose out on. So to me, that's an easy 20 points. Just don't give those points away, because as I previously mentioned in last week's lecture, these points are like gold, liquid gold per se, okay? You hear that a lot. Oh, it's like gold, it's gold. Well, it literally is, especially as the week starts dwindling down. You're going to wish you kept those points instead of them letting them fall by the wayside. So do not let your points fall by the wayside, guys. That's what I'm preaching for you. Okay. So I want you guys keep all your points. Okay. So again, this drills with an R on point estimates and confidence interval assignment was really, really straightforward as well. Again, it was all about what? Following directions. As long as you follow directions, you'll be very, very comfortable in what's going on in regard to doing the assignment appropriately. Okay. Alrighty. So as I articulated last week, you had to provide in the plain text R commands that finds and solves the following. Okay. So there was two areas that I was looking for. However, in each of those two areas, there's also two sub areas that you also had to find the information that I was looking for. Okay. And again, this assignment right here was worth 80 points. So this was the big assignment, okay? Straightforward, just take your time. Like I told you last week, all you had to do was get into a little room, do it, knock it out, and then life is good, okay? So my first proposed question that I articulated to you guys last week it was all about a study that investigates the distribution of annual income that I spoke on last week for you guys, right? For the heads of household living in public housing in Chicago. For a random sample of a size 30, the annual income is in thousands of dollars, as I mentioned last week, or the Chicago data file. Now, A, based on the descriptive statistic, or based on the descriptive graphic, instead of statistic, it was graphic, right? Describe the shape of the sample data distribution. Find and interpret point estimate of the population mean and the standard deviation. So that was part A. And then part B for number one was you had to construct that 95% confidence interval using Mule and using the R software. So I've been looking at that, guys, and you guys have been using the software. So great, great, great. So, but you had to construct that 95% confidence interval from you, okay? And then that was part B. Then it was the second question that I proposed to you guys. And this was all about the anorexia, right? That I had mentioned last week. True to form, The anorexia data file contains results for the cognizant behavior of a family, right? And family therapies and the control group. Using data for the 17 girls who received the family therapy, there was two areas that you had to focus on. Number one, well, actually, is letter A. A was you had to conduct a descriptive statistics analysis using graphs and numerical summaries. And then B was construct a 95% confidence interval for the difference between the population mean weight changes for the family therapy and the control. Okay. And then there you go. That's all you pretty much needed, guys. And life is pretty good. Okay. And then you had your index of data sets right there. Just click on that, and then pull out those data sets for those respective two areas. One was that Chicago housing data file, and then also the anorexia data file. Okay, and you would have been good to go. And if you had any issues, all you had to do is contact me. And like I said previously, there was no issues last week. So kudos to the team, which you guys are in fact my team, my data science team. We're teams, so we're all in this together. So, and there's no I in team. So we all working together to make sure you guys are successful. But I'm gonna do my part, and as I mentioned, for you, you have to truly do your part. Okay. Alrighty. So that was your second assignment, guys, and that was pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, before I jump on that third assignment, I do want to just piggyback real quick on our learning materials from week 3. Okay. Now I talked about the chapters and all that good stuff, and also that supplemental book material. But like I said, there's never an issue with me if you want to actually do more of a deep dive. I know I didn't talk on that enough before I jump on this third assignment, but feel free, guys. I'm not dismissing that at all. If you ever want to get some more supplemental material on the topic, by all means, definitely looking there to see what you can find. If you got any questions, you might want some more uh, work, things that can improve to make you even more efficient. Hey, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do for you. So do not ever hesitate. My nickname is Dr. Moore for a reason, uh, outside of Dr. Mosley, of course, but uh, people do call me Dr. Moore because I'm always giving a lot of work per se, or just making sure that you guys are well prepared. That's the way I look at it. But for some reason, that's been bestowed Dr. Moore. It's really Mosley, and I go by Dr. Moore because I get it. But I tell you what, you can never say that you're underprepared by being in my curriculum or my course. Okay, alrighty. So let's look at this third assignment, and then on lecture 3 or 4, which is the next lecture, we'll go ahead and jump in on this week's week 4 content. Now, this last assignment for week 3 was the project 2, decision making based on historical data, right? And that was another phenomenal assignment, guys. And that one was worth 70 points. Now, as I mentioned last week, there was some key areas that you guys had to hone in on. The project reflects the basic data distribution. It was all about the project topics related to the definitions of variance and skewness. Okay. And you had to explain the variance of skewness. And there was 2 areas I want you to look at. I'm not going to go into the areas. Then after loading the data G2 CSV into your R or Octave, you had to explain the meaning of each column or what the attribute explained. As I mentioned last week, the columns are for skew. Well, I didn't actually mention, I want you to read it and follow the directions. But it was all about skewness, mean, median, standard deviation, and the last price. So that was part 2. And then part 3, you had to just draw your conclusion based on what you learned on the 1 and 2 sections. Okay. And then last but not least, if you decide to, based on the historical data, Then you had to basically make a decision or the differences between the last prices with mean. And that was pretty straightforward, guys. In regard to that section, you had to look at the graphs and then articulate what you found out of it. Okay, so those are your 3 assignments, guys. When we come back, we're going to jump in on this week 4's lecture and start all the material for this ensuing week. See you in just a bit. Bye-bye.